Good morning, everyone. It's 6 a.m. and welcome to Life Meets Jason. I'm fat. I don't mean to shock anyone. I mean, it's probably been obvious for a while, but I don't think of myself that way very often because I'm in denial. Sort of. That's because denial is something I've become very good at as an overweight person. If I wear a large sweater, you can't see me. It's something that I live with and something that I hate to admit that I live with because, of course, I didn't used to be fat when I was 8. And besides, I could lose the weight again if I wanted to. Haven't I done it before? Actually, I have. I've lost over 120 pounds 3 times. I am in complete control of my condition. It's voluntary, right? Because I never signed up for this. And if I'm the one who wants to ruin my life, well, then I'll just go ahead and ruin my life. I mean, I can die 10 years before I'm supposed to, right? That's my right. Is it a curse or is it a gift? Is it biological, like an addiction? Is it learned behavior? I don't know, I don't care. I actually kind of view it like being gay. I mean, the whole it's a choice thing, that's always bugged me because I don't know if that's true or not. Nobody does yet. But I know that it's not something I can change anytime soon. I also know that just like if it is a choice or not, well then, okay, I'm free to do so. It's America. That's the point, really. This is the hand that I've been dealt, and this is what I have to deal with right now. It's just reality. Can I lose the weight again? For the 4th time? Sure, I guess. I mean, with enough emotional support and willpower and motivation. I mean, up until about 6 months ago, I was getting up every single morning and working out, and I want to start that again because I felt so much better and more alive. It wouldn't be easy, it wouldn't be painless, but pain is already a recurring feature of my life. It's how everything is viewed through the prism of pain, sometimes emotional, sometimes physical, always extreme, usually both. I don't speak for everyone as an overweight person, although I do imagine that we have some things in common. I was a dancer. I was a performer. I wanted to go into musical theater. I don't think I was incredibly good, but I got my double pirouettes, right? I wasn't the best dancer, but, for non-equity, I was all right. My voice was okay. It's thin and not too trained, but I have great pitch. And I don't think I was ever talented enough, though, to make it with the big boys in the professional theater world. I mean, that was part of the problem as well. The other part was I was just too big. I was too big to fit into everyone. If I'm not a leading man, then I'm chorus boy. And I can't be a chorus boy when everyone else is 5'8" and white. I just can't. I mean, my ethnicity and my height, I don't say that it's the only reason. Is it an excuse? I mean, probably it might be an excuse, but it's also part of the reality when I was at all those auditions, and also I'm very gay. I don't mind being overweight if I don't think about it too much. The problem is that it's impossible not to think about it because I'm never free of my body. My body never lets me forget it. For example, a memory of Disneyland for a typical person might be of the parades and waving at a princess and fireworks. But for me, I remember the heat in between the rolls, the fat rolls that I have, creating sweat, and I'm constantly worried it's going to soak through my shirt and show everybody disgusting, sweaty, horizontal lines. I can't sit down on Main Street because, to see the parade because I know that my knees can't take it and I'd get uncomfortable. I want to see the parade, but I really have to go get a drink or something so that I have an excuse just to sit down on one of those chairs until I can sneak back and see the parade. I remember waving at a princess. I often do. I mean, a little bit. I usually would wave harder, but then I would have been more enthusiastic, and it wouldn't have matched how I know I look. The illusion of who I am and what I look like would be broken, which happens a lot. Everyone would see some old fat guy waving, and that's not who I want to be. Because I'm always judging myself, I'm always imagining what other people see, not just what I see. Who I feel I am inside is some hyper-creative, active, beautiful, lively, young at heart gay boy whom everybody looks at and smiles at because I'm beautiful. And what they see is just someone who's excited to see a princess. And they'd laugh and be like, that's awesome. I would have energy if I was like that. I wouldn't feel the pain. But who I am when I look at myself in the mirror is very, very different. And I don't recognize that person, or at least I don't want to recognize that person. And I think to myself, who is that guy? Who is that guy that looks so dead, so disabled? The fireworks at night are at the end of the day, and by then it's really hard for me to stay. I want to see them, but by then the stress that my body has gone through all day is just telling me to go home and go to sleep. I obsessively look for junk food because I need that sugar high over and over and over again so that I can have that energy. I'm jacking up my body and my organs and my pancreas. I'm getting closer to cancer, diabetes, and heart attacks, but I need that energy. I'm short and snappy at people with all of the decisions of where to eat, and that's not just at Disneyland, that's everywhere. I want to control where we sit, what we wait for. I get actually rather abusive. I want to control everything, or I'm scared that I'm just not going to make it, and that takes place in my everyday life as well. With food, I'm safe and calm, or at least calmer. I know that I will get that second wind, and I'll have a great time as much as I can. I'll get to experience attractions and experiences and fireworks and life. When I remember Disneyland, I don't remember events. I remember everything through the prism of my body. I physically see and feel myself in those memories and how I was at the moment. I remember what I felt like, how my knees felt, how my back felt, not just the pretty princesses or the fireworks. And as an overweight person, my relationships are severely affected because food comes first. And if it doesn't, I find a way to sneak it in and make sure it is. There are occasionally cans of frosting underneath my bed with a spoon, or cookies under the bathroom cupboard. I stash my drugs of choice everywhere, just like a crack addict. In the past, I've been at dinner parties and I've gotten comments like, wow, you don't seem like you eat that much. Maybe you should have your thyroid checked, or I don't know, what medications are you on? But here's the secret to my success. I eat. A lot. Way too much. What they don't know is that full-size dinner I'm having with them is dinner number 4 or 5, and I'm still looking forward to another full-size dinner and desserts and spending $7 at Jack in the Box at 2 a.m. in the morning. Do you know how much food you can get at Jack in the Box for $7? I do. 4 tacos, a Junior Jack, a 5-piece nugget, and a chicken sandwich, extra mayo, hold up pickle. Sometimes if I find a couple more dollars, I can have a real party, because that's what it is, a party on a plate. Forget life, forget friends, forget plans, forget leaving the house, forget clean clothes or taking showers, or being nice to my family. I have everything that I need on that plate. Everything that I want is on that plate. And then it's gone. And then I get more. You see, the awful truth about food addiction, or whatever it is that I have, choice or physical or not, is that you can have it or you can have life. You can have the cheeseburgers and nachos and the sugary stuff and the crunchy stuff and high-calorie stuff, and you can have it until you're stuffed. And when you're stuffed, what you do is you back off a little bit and you wait 20 or 30 minutes until you're just calm enough, until the food's just far enough down that you can eat more without throwing up. Although you still throw up if you eat too close to bedtime, involuntarily in the middle of the night. It comes up if you lay sideways, which is why you have to sit up a bit. You can have all of that stuff you want, all the junk food. And you can enjoy it until you can't. Or you can have physical health and energy and relationships and appreciation for life and quiet moments where you're so grateful to be alive. You can Stop hitting yourself over and over again inside your head and criticizing yourself. You can have more success at your job. You can have more focus, emotional stability, and joy. Real joy. It seems like that would be such an easy decision, but somehow it's not. You tell me. I used to belong to a support group, which was great. It helped me lose weight several times. Of course, I guess it didn't work if I regained it all those times. The problem is consistency, because addicts are not consistent. And is that a problem? Is it a feature? Is it a choice? Who knows? Do you think that I would choose this? Somehow I don't think that I would choose this. But if the Queen of England was coming over, my house would be clean, right? If I absolutely had to, I could stop, so doesn't that prove that it's a choice? Doesn't it prove that I'm just weak-willed? Although in other ways, I'm incredibly willed. When I focus on something that I want to do, not dishes, not cleaning the house, not taking showers or shaving sometimes, but when I really have some creative urge, I can use my bipolar hyper energy and get it done. There are things that are important to me, and I will stay up 2 or 3 days in a row and get them done, because I am a creature of extremes. Either I'm nothing or I'm everything. Either I'm God or I'm just mud on the bottom of someone's shoe. And that's what it's like to be an addict. I think I'm on the upswing. Not at 6 a.m. in the morning, but maybe I'll actually get a workout in this morning. I built a gym in the garage, a very expensive gym. It was all custom. I'll tell you this, though. About 9 years ago, I hit my absolute bottom. Every single day, my husband would go to work, and I'd sit down and I'd play a video game all day long. And I would sit on the chair, but see, I would get everything ready first. I would get my enormous mixing bowl, like this big, and I'd fill it up with 9 cups of rice and a block of cheese. You know those $8 blocks of cheese you can get, those 2-pound ones from Vaughn's? Well, I'd shred that up, and I'd get that in there, and then I'd probably do a package and a half of hot dogs, and then 4 or 5 cans of chili. And so I'd nuke that up, and then on the other side, I would have my ice cream. Double chocolate fudge mousse tracks. I'd have a gallon or 2. I'd even set up a cooler so the second one could stay in there until I was ready to eat it, because I would eat the first one in about half an hour. And then on my lap, right below my controller, because of course I still had to play, was my nachos and my cheese. So I had my crunchy in front of me, I had my sweet on this side, and I had my stuff myself savory on this side. And every single day for months I would do that. And I wouldn't get off the couch, and I wouldn't do anything, and I'd barely take care of the pets. Who would feed them when I need to feed myself? And life was just so depressing. It had gotten more and more. I hadn't started that way. I did not mean to do that. And every night, right before I went to bed, I would think, I'm going to do something different tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to start my diet. But somehow it just never happened. And this one day, I remember I was getting these awful chest pains. It was probably gas, right? I mean, I was 33. I was too young to have a heart attack, but I was sure that I was. And I had my phone, and I dialed 911, and I just, was ready to push the other buttons in case someone had to come and get me. And then I thought to myself, I live in a condo. I live in a locked condo, and the door is way too far away for me to get up and get to if I'm having a heart attack. The paramedics wouldn't be able to get in anyway, not in time to save me. So I just threw my phone far enough away that I could not get to it. and I said, if I'm gonna die, just get it over with, because I can't do this anymore. And it was shortly after that I went to my support group, and it was nice to see other people who had all these crazy thoughts, because all you think about is the food. But the problem is not the food. It might be, hey, there's all these studies, high fructose corn syrup, and how people were so much skinnier in the 50s, and serving sizes. You know, a large was as large as our smalls now. I mean, sure, there is a component to that. Hi, Chico. Oh! This is one of the reasons it's great to have pets. They always seem to know when you're having a rough time. They're a lot easier than people. Can you hear her purring? She's saying, you are not alone, mister. And that's great. And I take care of my pets now, because I know that food is not the most important thing. I still treat it that way sometimes, but at least I know better, and I'm not going to make that choice again. And I still do occasionally shower, about every 2 or 3 days when someone reminds me. I still haven't shaved, but I'm doing the best I can. And that's all any of us can do, right? The thing about the food is that all you ever think about is the food. Like I said, you can either have food or nothing. When I actually get the food, when I think to myself, what I want is $7 from Jack in the Box, and that's going to make me happy, I go and I get it, and I'm eating it, but I still don't feel happy. Somehow it still didn't work. And as I'm eating it, I'm thinking to myself, what is it I really crave? So I think to myself, there you go, sweetheart. So I think to myself, it's ice cream. That's what I want. I want something sweet and cold. So I go and I get my ice cream. But the moment I buy it, I think to myself, this will be good, but it's not really what I want. What do I want? And so I think to myself, I want hot dogs or some other junk food, even when you're vegetarian. Hell, I don't care about myself. Why the hell would I care about some animal or whatever? I'm eating pure shit. She goes, stop walking on the table. You're shaking the camera. But it's never enough, because there is a difference between hunger and craving. Hunger can be solved by eating. You're hungry, you eat, you're full. That's it. The problem is not that I'm hungry. The problem is that I crave. And craving never goes away. You are so fickle. Decide whether or not you're coming up or down. She goes a good example, actually. When she's hungry, she meows at me. I give her food, she eats, and then she's done. She won't even finish her dinner. It amazes me. I sit there and think to myself, how do you do that? Yeah. But I don't. It's never enough once I give into it. This one time, we went camping, my family and I, and my then new boyfriend, 19 years ago, who's now my husband. And we had made these kebabs, and there were these vegetable kebabs, right, that my parents made. They were trying to be healthy, although they eat nothing but shit as well. Or at least, my mom did eat a bunch of shit. She died a couple years ago from diabetes. She could have taken care of herself, but she didn't. Up until her last moment, she was shoving her face full of shit. That was on her bucket list. Go get her every single thing that she wanted. She wanted to taste the Afghan fries with the gravy again. She wanted to taste the whatever it is. And when I brought her the Afghan fries, that was the part that I was responsible for. So I got her the Afghan fries, and I took them to her bedside, and she dove right into them and took it and dunked it in the gravy and shoved it in her mouth, and gravy was running down her mouth. And, oh, okay. But they weren't good enough. I remembered them differently, she said. I thought these were better. Because she wasn't hungry. She was just craving. She wanted that emotional high one more time before she left. That's what was important to her. She said goodbye to family, too. She said goodbye to everyone, and she felt loved, and that's great. But it just wouldn't have been complete without those sensations that gave her so much joy in the past. Because she's a food addict as well. If it wasn't for the bypass surgery, I'm sure she would have been overweight for the rest of her life. But back to the kebabs. So, my husband is the normie. He's beautiful. He has muscles and a high metabolism, and because he hasn't been damaging it all his life by starving himself and then overeating and then starving himself and then overeating. And right in the middle of a bite, his mouth was open, and then he closed it, and he set down the kebab. And my mom looked over at him and said, "Is everything all right? What's wrong? Is it bad?" And he said, "No, I'm full." You decided you were full in the middle of a bite and then set it down? Well, yeah. We could never get over it. It was the absolute best. It was so funny because who ever heard of that? Who does that? Well, crazy people who don't crave food, crazy people who aren't controlled by their food or by what's inside of them. Food is the symptom, it's not the problem. All those support groups are the same. It's not the alcohol. It's not the food. It's not the gambling. It's what's inside of us, right? Although I will say that I think our bodies are different. We do react to those substances differently. And once we're hooked, it's really hard to get off of them. Those substances are powerful. They do have physical effects on us. We may be powerless to stop what our bodies do once we put the food in, but we are not helpless. Powerless, not helpless, has always been my motto. And that's what kind of changed my life to the point where I could be functional. Anyway, I'm up to 290 pounds now. I was at 240 for quite a while, which was nice. I'm not down to 187 like my bottom weight was, where I was actually skinnier than my husband, less weight. I loved that for the 2 weeks that it lasted. But I'm looking at myself thinking, how can I ignore this pain? How can I not talk about this? How can I not talk about, and not even get into the stigma of what other people think? Screw that. What I think of myself is so much worse. What you think about yourself is always worse than what other people say about you or what you imagine they say about you. It's all in my head. Because I'm crazy. Or I'm addicted. Either way, I'm not free. Well, that was fun, wasn't it? I'm going to make a series about this stuff. Series talking about what's inside and about working out and what that motivation, what that takes, and how I've dealt with that, and especially how my best friend has helped me immensely. Nobody can rescue you, but they can help a lot. They can help pull you out. And my friend doesn't say, don't eat that. Here, let me get you a smaller portion. That's not what he says. He says, hey, get up, life is great. And when I realize that life is great, I don't need as much food. But he can't save me. I need to start learning these things myself again. And what that requires is talking about it. What that requires is paying attention to it and using all of those skills that I have learned, that I have, that I can save myself. So, let's see how that goes. Let's take that journey together, because this is part of my recovery too. Just believing someone's there. I'm staring at a camera at 6 a.m. I'm here all alone for the next 2 hours until the house stirs again, but I'm not alone, right?